friends. You know, what's funny is I always play that little intro and I always try to time it right with when I go live with when the intro comes and when I come up, and I get it wrong every single time. So you know what? I heard once that people who, I believe it's the Amish, would always, when they were quilting something, they would leave a mistake in their work on purpose so that they could remember that, they're not perfect. All right. So I am really excited today because, I don't know anybody who's got a perfect life, but I know a lot of people who have crazy perfect lives. And I kind of feel like I'm one of them. And that's just one of the things that I have in common with our next guest. And I bet that you will have in common with our guest as well. So I want to bring Dara Kurtz in on the Kindness Podcast live. So let's bring her in. Hi, Dara. How are you today?
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. It's so good to connect with you.
It is. Where are you joining us from?
I'm in North Carolina.
Okay. Where in North Carolina?
Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in between Charlotte and Raleigh.
Wonderful. Lovely area. Okay. Tell me, who are just so that our group can get to know you a little bit, who are your very special people in your life? Who's your tribe that you just love?
I think it's so important to have a tribe, and, especially now more than ever. And my tribe is really, first of all, it's my family, my husband, my 2 daughters. The older they get, the more I feel like our relationship kind of shifts. And that's been really special to be in this season with them. And my brother, my extended family. And then, of course, my mommy friends. We all have our mom friends that maybe we've known for a long time, or maybe we've raised our kids together, or maybe even a new friend. But this time especially has shown me who my tribe is more than ever.
Yeah. I always like people to chime in and say, hey, I'm here and this is where I'm from. And so I just want to say hi to Gloria Adami right now. She says, hi, Nicole. Great seeing your smiling face. Yes. And we also have a friend joining us. Happy Diwali. Oh, yeah. Okay, excellent. So that's kind of fun to have that. So we were talking about some of the things that we have in common. And so would you take us through, because we had a book.
Yes.
Released on the same day. Like, how cool is that? So
yeah, we have a lot in common. So we have both had a book released September 1st, which was super fun. And I don't know about you, but I loved having something happy to focus on, especially like during the pandemic over the summer. And, it's just such a positive, beautiful experience for me. And I know you probably feel the same. We're both breast cancer survivors. For me, it's been 6.5 years. I think for you, it's been 5. And so, yay, that is definitely reason to celebrate, right? For sure.
That's right.
We're moms. We are podcasters. I have a podcast as well, although we don't do all these cool things like you do with all the graphics and, the live and all that. I love it.
Woo.
Yeah, very, very legit here at the Nicole Phillips podcast. But yeah, and we both love, I discovered you on watching HGTV. So we both love HGTV and homes, and kind of probably making our homes like our sacred place.
Yes, I do believe it's very important to have home be a place that we can all come to exhale. So home, I would imagine, was pretty special for you as you were growing up, because it seems like so much of what you encourage and give to others has to do with this idea of this mother-daughter relationship. Can you talk about the type of home you grew up in?
Yeah. So I grew up in a normal family environment. I mean, I think we all think that our family is what everyone's family is like, especially when we're little, because that's kind of like that's what we have to compare it to. But I grew up with my mom and my dad and my brother. And when we went to sleep at night, we used to all be in our individual rooms, and we would kind of be like the Waltons. And we would say, I would say, good night, Mom. Good night, Dad. And then my parents would be like, good night, Dara. And then my brother would be in his room and it would just be so cute. But that's the kind of environment that I grew up in. And my mom passed away a couple weeks after I had my first daughter, my first child. And it's really been 21 years since she passed away. And it's been one of the greatest challenges of my life to learn how to live in the world without her. And it's really been hard to kind of navigate that throughout my adult life. But it gave me a lot of opportunity and reason to sort of reflect on the kind of childhood that I had and really to think a lot about what I lost and missing my mom, and then what I want to give to my daughters. And so how we're all sort of connected one generation to the next. So, I've tried really hard to kind of carry the traditions that I grew up with, that I loved, and give them to my daughters. And I think that's one way we can honor the past and the people that we've known and maybe lost.
Mm-hmm. And if someone is watching right now, if you're watching live and you have a question for Dara, I know, Dara, you would love to share any tips for walking through that grief or whatever people have questions about right now as well. Do you feel like losing your mother or something your mother taught you maybe was the impetus for starting Crazy Perfect Life?
Actually, I started Crazy Perfect Life right after I went through breast cancer. So I was a financial advisor for over 20 years. And, I knew that I really wanted to be helping people and I really wanted to be writing and I wanted to find my voice. But it was hard to kind of shift from the perfect job, if you will, on paper to give myself permission to kind of give that up and do something else. And so if I hadn't have gone through breast cancer, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be living this life and I wouldn't have this platform. I probably would have just kind of stayed the course because it was working. And even though like in my heart, I felt like something was missing and I knew that like talking about money and thinking about money all day long was not what I wanted to do, it was still an internal conflict, if you will, to kind of shift. And so that was something that really good that came from something bad. And so after I went through breast cancer, that's when I quit my job, started Crazy Perfect Life, had absolutely no idea what I was doing. It's just been a really fun journey.
So what did you learn about yourself in that first year?
Honestly, I learned that I have a really good work ethic. I feel like that served me really well in my financial advisor life. And I kind of carried over a lot of that into Crazy Perfect Life. And when I was growing up, I always had a summer job. I always worked. My parents always encouraged me to be able to support yourself. Mm-hmm. They would say, Dara, you don't know what's going to happen down the road. You don't ever want to be dependent on anyone. You need to be able to support yourself. You need to be able to make your own money. And so that was sort of just something that I took a lot of pride in. And so I think I carry that over into this. But it's fun,
Okay, now I'm gonna dive deep here. I gotta get my knee up here so I can lean in and okay, I feel like I got my blue jeans on. I feel like I should have my pajamas on because I got some questions, woman. So I feel like I am a, let's say, hardworking, independent woman. Okay.
Absolutely.
As you are. So I am married to a basketball coach. So being independent is really important because
he travels.
Right. So, but sometimes we who are the hardworking independent can forget or at least make our spouses feel like we don't need them or that I got this. I can totally do this on my own. In fact, sometimes I'll be like, get out of my way because this is how it works when you're not here. So you can't come back in and, change the rules again. How does that work? So that can be a fracture in a lot of people's marriages. A lot of strong women have fractures in their marriage because of that. How do you guard against that and allow yourself to be softer when needed?
So I think that's a really good question. My husband doesn't travel. He's an attorney. He's actually a family law attorney. So That means he does divorces and custody cases and really glamorous things like that. But it also helps him kind of appreciate our family life. And I met John when we were in college. I always say kind of I was a child bride. I mean, I made it in MRS. I've known him since I was 18. We've kind of grown up together in a way. So I feel like we've kind of grown together. So he doesn't travel, which means I don't have that situation that you have, because I think it would be hard to kind of get used to, this is how I do it when you're not here, and then you show up. And I totally get that. And I've heard that from other friends whose husbands travel and such. I think it's important to be, this term, independently dependent, which means that you can be an independent woman, but you can also open up yourself to being vulnerable and letting in the people that you love and care about and letting them see all the messiness and recognizing that it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. You're going to argue with your spouse. You're going to have little moments, especially when we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're all spending a lot of time at home. So I think that just trying to be independently dependent, I want to lean on John. I want him to lean on me. That's how we have a good, solid relationship for us. And I think it also looks different for everyone. Everyone's scenario is different. Everyone's relationships are different. And trying not to compare yourself to maybe what works for other people, because everyone's got a different situation.
Yeah. You're heading into next year, I would imagine, this season of being an empty nester. So is that on your mind now? It is. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a really relevant conversation. It is on our minds. Our youngest daughter, we have two daughters. Our youngest daughter is going to college next year, and we are going to be empty nesters. And so I think right now we're sort of in this, okay, we need to cultivate some joint hobbies. We need to be intentional about it. We need to be aware and intentional about how we're going to spend our time and what that's going to look like. And we love to travel, and we love to do, we have a lot of similarities, but we also have a lot of differences. And so we're just trying right now to sort of think about it. What's it going to look like? What's it going to feel like? And try to be excited about it. We're trying to kind of embrace it. I don't want to be all depressed that I'm having this change. I want to celebrate it, even though, of course, my heart it's going to be hard to know that both of our daughters are in college. But, I'm going to try to embrace it. It's really all about your attitude, as you know, and I'm going to try really hard to focus on and count the blessings that we have, not think about the loss. And it is a loss.
Yeah. Tell me about your book, I Am My Mother's Daughter. What do you want people to know about that?
Thank you for asking that. So it's not a book I ever planned on writing. I found a Ziploc bag of letters that were written to me when I first went to sleepaway camp at age 9 until I graduated from college, mostly written by my mom and my grandmothers. And I wasn't planning on diving into that bag. And when I finally had the courage to open up that bag and start reading the letters, I was blown away. I felt like I was having a conversation with my mom. I could feel her personality. I could hear her voice. And it really helps me get a much needed dose of her wisdom. And so that experience, I just kind of felt like there's a book here. There's so much wisdom and relevancy I want to share with people. I want to help people who maybe don't know how to connect with the people that are in their lives and they want to grow their relationships, or maybe they don't know how to let go of the pain of a loss that they've experienced. And so it's really all of those things. But it's been such a beautiful gift to myself and to my daughters, and I think to all the readers, because we all go through hard times. We're all going to have losses, and we can learn and grow from them. And so I love it so much.
What's interesting about the book to me is that it starts with this inner circle, which is just you you and your mom, and that sort of like right now it's you. And then from there, it's like you processed it and you were able to bring it out, and now it's between you and your daughters. And then you were able to put it in a book, and now it's between you and the world, and everyone who needs to hear that message. There's
Yeah.
an inherent kindness in that I just love that you would share what's so close to your heart.
Yeah, there's a lot in here that I don't hold back at all. It's very raw and open. There were times that I was sitting right here at this desk, writing and sobbing because I was thinking about things that I hadn't thought about in a long time. It was really painful because I was stuck in grief for like 20 years. I mean, I really had such a hard time making peace with my mom's death. And I didn't know how to make peace with her death. I felt so angry and cheated, and it was just always there. And reading these letters, really, it helped me so much deal with that. And so I'm very open and honest in the book because, as you totally get, I think there's no point in writing a book if you're not going to be completely open and honest and transparent. And I know you're the same way because I know you believe that. And that's when I think people really can learn, and really we're helping people when we're like that, when we're vulnerable, because people, they can take that and they can apply it to their own lives. And I think that's the beauty of going through a hard time and sharing it with others.
And it gives other people the permission, I think, to be vulnerable as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So do you have, in hindsight, tips for people who don't have those letters, who are sitting in that place of grief? What can someone else do to move forward?
Yeah, that's such an important question. I think the biggest thing, the number one thing that would have helped me is acceptance. Acceptance of where you are, acceptance of what has happened, acceptance of your current situation. That does not mean that you're going to like it. That doesn't mean that you wish that you had something else. It just means that you're saying to yourself, okay, I accept the situation that I'm in. Because once you accept something, you can actually then shift your mindset to saying, okay, now how can I deal with it? How can I help myself move through this? And I did not want to accept the fact that my mom had passed away. I did not want to accept the fact that it had happened. And so I really stayed in that space of, I wish things were different. I wish she was here. I wish this was blah, blah, blah. And once I gave myself and figured out that I needed to accept it, it really changed. It shifted my whole mindset. And then there's so many ways that people can be intentional about bringing in a loved one into their lives today, even if that person has passed away. One example is my mom loved eating hot fudge sundaes. That was like such a special treat.
Woman after my own heart. Love it.
And so every year on the anniversary of her death and her birthday, we have a big ice cream sundae party. The four of us, or, now it's just my oldest daughter and my husband. We did it. Her birthday was recently, just this past week. So, it's just ways that you can bring that person into your life in a happy way, and treasuring your memories. But it's so important to make peace with your loss, whatever it is. And that way you can then shift and help yourself say, okay, how can I move forward and take them with me?
And do you feel like that initial acceptance comes from just a snap decision? Does it come from therapy? Does it come from journaling? Like, how does somebody say, I accept?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not linear. Grief isn't linear, which means that it's going to be 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. But it's constantly being aware of the thoughts that you're having. And I'm such a big fan of going to counseling and writing in a journal, writing your feelings, and really paying attention to what you're saying to yourself. But if you're going to carry that victim mentality around, and that's the story you're spinning in your mind, which I did for a really long time, that's the story that our bodies start to believe. We believe what we tell ourselves. And so just really being intentional about it. And then of course giving yourself permission to have those hard days and to say, you know what, this sucks. I don't want to accept it. But I don't think that it's like you can wake up one day and say, boom, I accept it. You have to really feel the acceptance. It's just like, have you ever heard about, like, if you want to manifest something, and I might be getting a little too woo-woo here, I don't know. But
this is fun.
Okay. But I mean, I've done a lot of reading on this, and if you want to manifest something, like if you really want to experience something, you can't just say like, okay, I'm going to write a book. You have to really feel it in your heart, like, I'm going to write a book. I believe that I'm going to write a book. It's the same thing when I started really accepting my loss. Like, I couldn't just say, I accept my loss. I really had to feel it, like, I accept what happened, and I'm willing to, like, let my heart energetically meet me there, not just intellectually. And that for me was the big game changer.
Dara, you're so good for my soul. I can't even imagine what the people watching right now have got to be like. Oh, it just feels so good. It just feels so good to talk with you. Before I let you go, would you have a story of kindness that you'd be willing to share? It can be something you've done or received or anything.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, there's so many stories of kindness. I believe the random acts of kindness are the best. That's when you are walking down and you see someone and that you can make a difference in their life just by being nice. Whether or not that's buying the coffee in the Starbucks line for the person behind you, or it's paying for someone's groceries when you can tell they clearly really are struggling to make ends meet, or picking up the phone and saying, hi, I know you're going through a hard time, and I just wanted you to know I'm thinking about you. It's all about not what I can get from you because I'm doing this random act of kindness. You're not trying to get anything from doing something nice. It's about, how can I spread joy, and what can I do to help someone else on a daily basis? And for me, it's just really paying attention, whether or not that's like right now, especially going for a walk and trying to say hi to my neighbors, especially like older people, because we're all feeling a little disconnected right now.
Right.
It's really taking the time to write a letter, write a letter to someone that you care about and just say, I'm thinking about you. I want you to know that you're in my thoughts. Just hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much that means to people.
I agree. And I've seen it work, over and over and over again, where it just reroutes our day and somebody else's day. Dara Kurtz, Crazy Perfect Life. We have, I believe, a site for you to go to. Do we have that site? I'm looking at Sarah from my team is backstage, so I can see her, but you all can't see her. And so I'm looking at her and she's nodding. And Sarah, I'm gonna put you on here now. You know that, right? Here we go. Add her to the stream. Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Okay, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Sarah loves me. She loves it when I just randomly bring her on to things.
I am working, but I forgot to put the link. So
why are you showing my book? We have Dara's.
I got distracted. Go to crazyperfectlife.com.
Yeah. So you can go to crazyperfectlife.com. Here's what my book looks like. I Am My Mother's Daughter, Wisdom on Life, Loss, and Love, written from my heart to yours. And you can get 5 free gifts when you buy the book at my website, crazyperfectlife.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Dara. So we kicked Sarah out of there. Yeah. Like, I know. The camera keeps shifting every time I bring someone in or put someone out. So thank you. Thank you for the kindness that you are showing everyone with this. This is just amazing. Here is the website. There you go. I Am My Mother's Daughter. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. I sure appreciate you being here. And I hope you were just as inspired by Dara as I was. Have a great day, and make sure you fill